What's up everyone, I'm Matt and welcome to How Do I. Today, I'm showing you how to build a daily profit tracker for your e-commerce business. And honestly, this is my favorite tool in all of D2C, and all of our clients, this is their favorite tool too. Look, if you're tired of waiting weeks to find out if you actually made money, or if you've been caught off guard by cash flow issues, this episode is for you. I'm gonna walk you through the exact system, the way I build it for clients. I'm gonna connect your Facebook ads, Google ads, and Shopify into one dashboard, and it updates every single day in the morning before you get to work. So the first thing you can look at is this fucking sheet that shows you exactly how profitable you were yesterday. Plus, I'm gonna show you the smartest way to use this data to scale faster. I'm gonna show you how to build your daily profit tracker, and it's my favorite tool in D2C. I'm gonna show you how to build it. So first of all, we've talked about you have an account with dataslayer.ai. There's a free account that you can use. So you've signed up, you've connected Dataslayer to your Google Sheets. What do you do now? So we're going to pick up from having basically what would be a blank sheet to having your profit tracker set up. So I'm going to share my screen. Here we have a sample that's already set up, but we're going to imagine that it's not. So the first thing you're going to do, this sheet is going to be blank right here. So again, in your case, the sheet will be blank. So you go to Meta, click into cell A1, click extensions, click Dataslayer, launch sidebar. So what you're going to do first is you're going to go, Dataslayer will open here. You hit add new query. You will look for your connector. So in this case, it's Facebook ads. You will select yourself, so whatever your account is, hit confirm. You will select your accounts. So often a lot of us will have multiple accounts within one business manager or multiple portfolios or whatever have you, right? In this case, there's a number of them. So I'm going to select all the ones that are related to the business that I want to run this for. There's one of them that's not. Then you go to data table. When you get to your data table, in the date, click in there and hit today, just like that, and hit apply. Now, when you go to select dims and rows, I want you to go scroll down, select date. And metrics, all we need in here is the cost. That's all we need right now. Last thing you got to do is sort dims. So hit add sort, click date, click ascending, click apply. Now you're set up to do this pull from Meta. The next thing that you do is you hit generate table right there. You're going to click it, and Dataslayer is going to be thinking for a little bit, in up to, in some cases 5 minutes, and then it will pull in all this data for you here. So that's great. Now you have Meta's cost data. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to Google. So again, imagine that this sheet is very blank for you. This is not helpful, this stuff that you can do with there, but you're going to go to cell A1, right in here. You're going to go back on here. You're going to go add new query. You're going to go connectors. We're going to not use Facebook this time. We're going to use Google Ads. You're going to click on yourself. Hit confirm. Your accounts, select your account or multiple accounts if they're related to the same business. Select your data table. Again, you're going to go to date. You're going to go change this to today. Hit apply. You're going to select dims in rows. So you're going to select the date right here. You're going to select the metrics. All you're going to select is cost. That's all we need for this particular report that we're going to do. And now dims, add sort, auto, change it to date, ascending, and hit apply. And what we're going to do again is we're just going to hit generate table here. Very simple, okay? Very, very easy to do. And then Google, in about maybe 5 minutes, sometimes in 1 minute, sometimes 30 seconds, it will pull in your Google data from the beginning. And in this case, I've pulled from the beginning of 2024, but you can pull from the beginning of 2025. That's fine. That's enough data. Hit generate table. You're golden. Now we need to pull in our Shopify data. So come over here to the Shopify tab, click into cell A1, and we're going to add new query, connectors. We're going to go all the way down to Shopify. Select your Shopify account, hit confirm. Then you have to click your account, select your account. Then you got to go to your data table. So again, in the date range, we're going to change this to today. Just like that. We'll hit apply. Dims in rows. Again, we're going to put the date. Now, the metrics. There's a number of things we need for Shopify for this report to work properly, so we're going to add a whole bunch. So total sales, gross sales, net sales, I'm going to add discounts, gross discounts, shipping, gross shipping, refunds, and I'm going to add AOV just because I like to see it. Okay, there you go. Now, you're going to go up to sort dims, add sort, auto, change it to date, ascending, apply, and when you hit generate table, this Shopify report, it is going to take upwards of half an hour. I think one client I used this for took 2 hours to load, so I just hit the button, left it here, went for lunch, whatever, went for a workout or did other stuff, and just let this thing chug along. It doesn't use your own machine's compute power, so it's fine. But the reason that this takes a long time is because it uses the orders API, not like the total sales over time report. So it is going to take a long time. But if you hit generate table, it's going to think, again, a couple hours possibly, but I don't need to do it because I've preloaded the data for you. Now you have your data here. What do we do next? So now that you've got your 3 sources, and you can actually add other sources too. There are other connectors this thing has. You can do Apple search ads. You can do Amazon, though I don't think you can pull Amazon sales yet. You can pull Google ads, of course. There's some stuff from Google Analytics. But in terms of ad spend, we can pull in LinkedIn ads. We can pull in Reddit ads. We can pull in Snapchat, TikTok, X, or Twitter. So there's a lot of different ad spend you can pull in here. So we've got our ad spend that we need for now. That's fine. We're going to close this. Now here is the first glimpse of your daily profit tracker, and let's dig into it. So the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to link up all the sales. So, and again, this sheet is going to come with formulas that are pre-built for you already to work. So you should really only have to plug in your queries from Data Slayer into these 3 tabs here. And then everything else should work. But again, if it doesn't, I'm going to show you how we do it. Total sales. What you can see is we're using an index match formula. It just makes it very easy to drag this formula, move it around, all kinds of things. So you type in, and again, the formula is here, but we go index, and you're indexing this entire, we'll start by first, you're indexing this entire table all the way to the very bottom of this sheet. And then this formula tells Shopify match. So now it tells Shopify, how do I find the row that I want? Okay, so you do match, you go date, okay, you grab the date, and it's important. See that $sign? The $signs are very important for how the sheet functions, so it's important the $sign is there. And in Shopify, again, you go back, and now you're telling the sheet how to find the sales on this row. So what row do I use? Well, you use the row associated to, in this case, it's June 1st. Okay. Actually, so this should say this should say June, not Jan, but anyway, there we go. Golden. So June 1st. So now what it will do is it will look in Shopify and it will find the row that corresponds to June 1st. And that is going to be right there. Great. So it's found that row. But now it needs to know which column should I use, right? So we got to tell it that next. So now over here, that's the first match. It's matched on the row. And again, the way I've set this up is incredibly important. So do it the exact same way. Now you need to find the column. So now it goes, well, look for the column called total sales. And where do I look for that column? We look for it in this header row here. You can see total sales is there. So we're going to find that as well. So now it can find the row and the column, meaning that it goes here and it finds this column, 56,000, and it pulls it in here. And so now that you've got that set up, all you need to do is, if it works the first time, you copy it, and then you can do one of 2 ways. You can just drag it over to match these, and then you can drag it downwards, so like this, all the way to the end of June. Great. And it won't pull them in if the numbers are not there. Next, it's the same thing over here. You can just actually copy, paste, and then you can drag it over here, drag it over there. That's great. Now you're done. So now this thing knows what your daily sales are. So perfect, right? Next, taxes we're going to ignore. This particular client has their sales are exclusive of taxes, so I don't need to factor this in. Where this comes in trouble is if you're in the UK or in a different country where VAT is inclusive, you might have to take this out yourself, but we don't have to in this case. So now we have our net sales for the day. Boom, is gross plus shipping minus discounts minus refunds equals net sales. Now, something that's very important for you to notice is if you look in your total sales over time report in Shopify, it will not match this net sales. The reason why is because this data slayer platform is using the orders API. It's not using the whatever other data source that total sales over time report uses. It's using the orders API. So it's not off by a lot, but I would say it's off between maybe 1K per day in this particular person's case. Okay, so that's what it's doing. It's using the orders API. But now you have your net sales for each day. Now we have to pull in our Facebook ads and our Google ads and other stuff, right? So Facebook ads, you'll see here, we're using a very simple sum ifs. So you have to tell the sheet, I want you to sum this column. Well, what are we at? Google Meta. Sum this column, but only if it matches this day. So C10, so June 2nd. So now it's going to look at this whole entire column, and it's only going to total the costs that are the total is on June 2nd. So very, very simple formula. And of course, ChatGPT, if you don't know how it works or what it does, but very simple. And then you can drag this one downwards as well. Google is the same. We have our live data there. So you can actually do this. Yeah, so same thing, same sum ifs formula right there. TikTok, we don't spend on TikTok in this case, but it would be the same formula if it was TikTok as well. But there's no TikTok here. Now, what if you have other stuff that maybe is a variable marketing cost and you don't have it in here, and it can't connect on the API? What do you do? Well, that's what these are for here. So you can add more of these if you need. So the first one I've just called it TOF. It's just whatever, it could be whatever it is. But let's say we take it out. This is 500 a day. Okay, but we do spend some money on SMS every day. Actually, we could put this on email. So Klaviyo sends, for example. So I don't know how much Klaviyo would be per day, but let's say it's this number here. Well, then you'd go this times net sales equals that, and let's say you spend 20,000. Let's say you're going to spend you spend $500 a day on Klaviyo. I don't know, that's probably too much, but let's say whatever you spend on Klaviyo on a daily basis, if it's somewhat variable, you can put it there. Or 0.5%. That's probably more appropriate. And then your SMS. So for us, in this particular case, we spend about 1% per month on SMS. So all I do is I put in 0.97%, and I go here and I go multiply this 0.97 times net sales, and it will give me the daily cost of that. On affiliate commissions, again, it's around about 0.9% per month or 1% per month. So we can set that here. And then we can go this 0.9 times net sales, and it will total up every single day that you have sales. And so now the sheet knows you have your net sales, and it will subtract all these ad spend lines that are variable from net sales. So you have your total ad spend of 17,000, whatever the number is here. So it tells you your ROAS, tells you your MER. Fine. Great. Next, we have our other variable costs. So we have cost of goods sold, we have delivery cost, we have payment processing, we have commissions. So in this case, you would look at your cost of goods divided by your gross sales. So if you can go on your income statement, and I want you to look at your total cost of goods sold, and I want you to divide that by your gross sales. Don't divide it by your net sales, divide it by your gross sales, because your gross sales will be fairly static. Your net sales will fluctuate with discounts, with returns, or what have you. So we're going to multiply your cost of goods, or divide your cost of goods by your gross sales, and you're going to put that in here, 21% on average for these people. If you have live cost data in Shopify, you can pull that. But in this case, it's simpler to start this way. So all we're going to do here is grab this 21%, and we're going to multiply it by your gross sales. So over here, you go 21%, and you multiply it by your gross sales over here, and you hit enter, and it's great. Delivery fees, again, In this case, we're going to measure it by net sales. So it's, again, we've done the calculations. It's 11% or so. So we're going to go 11% times net sales. And on payment processing, it's 3% times net sales. And in this case, they have some commissions they pay on revenue as well. And so we're going to go 1% times net sales. And so when you take away all this stuff from net sales, you are left with contribution margin. And we call it CM3. The reason we call it CM3, because contribution margin 1 is sort of revenue minus cost of goods sold. Contribution margin 2 is revenue minus cost of goods sold minus this stuff. And 3 is when you take away all your ad spends. So again, contribution margin. You could relabel this contribution margin if you want to. So now you have contribution margin. Well, so great. You know what your contribution margin is. How does this help you? And you're totaling your contribution margin every day. You can look at it. You can look at your contribution margin data here. But, how does this thing actually really help you? Well, this is where the magic happens, is the next thing that you can do with this sheet. So now we know that in this month of June, we're going to spend approximately $210,000 on our fixed costs. So if you divide that by 30 days in June, well, we know what our daily fixed costs are, at least on an estimated basis. Oh, and this is total costs, so including all the variable costs here. This is probably a little confusing, but regardless, whatever. So this is your daily fixed costs. Now you can actually see how profitable you are on a daily basis. So now you can do net sales minus your total costs, which includes your variable costs, right? And minus your fixed costs. So there are days where we made a decent amount of money, right here. There are days where we did not make very good money, right here. Okay, and you can see this every day. So now you can begin to see patterns in your business, both for revenue levels and margin levels and all these different things. For example, just because you have lower margins doesn't mean you always make less money, but again, in this case, we can see the net sales, we can see the contribution margin as percentages, we can see our ROAS, and we can see our daily profit. Well, okay, so it's good that we can see all this information, but does it help us know what to do? Well, that's the next phase here, is now we can put in our targets before we start the month. This is actually my favorite part about this sheet, because let's say for July. Well, let me show you how to set this up for July. But first of all, I'm going to show you this next thing here. So in May, I set this sheet up for us, this client rather, and our target contribution margin for June is $190,000. We can see that as of the 12th, which is yesterday, we surpassed $190,000. And my net profit target for June is also $115,000, and we can see that as of the 11th, we surpassed $115,000. Well, so what? Well, this is where the magic happens with this spreadsheet. This is how I like to use this. There are two things we can do once we surpass our margin or profit goals for the month. One is we can just harvest the profit. Sure, just put more money in your jeans as an owner. There's nothing wrong with that. There's never anything wrong with that. The other thing we can do, though, is now we can over-invest. So you've already passed your profit target for the month. Well, now you can over-invest in marketing and drive profit for next month, because we know we've hit the target that we've had already. And if you have an annual budget, you should have profit targets for every single month. And if you hit your profit target every month, you could grow the business more if you then over-invest in revenue. So right now we're spending, if you look at Facebook and Google, you can see there's a pretty clear pattern with 14,000 a day. What I would be asking this client to do now is I want you to crank it up to 14,000 a day. Then I want you to crank it up to 15,000 a day. And the reason we're going to do that is because we will drive new customers in. We will have higher acquisition costs and less efficient contribution margins and less efficient ROASs. But the good news is we've already hit our profit target. We've already hit our margin target. We've already hit our profit target. So now we can just deploy that extra funds into driving more sales for next month. And if we can continue to do that, we will drive more sales for every month going past this as well. So this is why I love this sheet. Now, here's how I'm going to set this up for July. So all you do is, let's say you're mid-June or kind of last week of June, I would set this up as a team. You're going to come in here, you're going to go duplicate. Duplicate. You're going to change the name to July 25. There we go. And then all you do is you come in here and change the month. And as you see, there's nothing going on here, right? And you just got to grab all these rows down here, just like that. And you're going to drag them down one, and we're going to drag them down one. And as soon as we cross over into July, these sheets right here, like sort of your analytics engine right there, will start incrementing sales into July as well. But the thing that's most important is, what are my fixed costs going to be for July? Maybe I've hired somebody, so they're going to be $220,000 now for July. And my profit target might be more, might be less, but let's say in this case, I'm going to keep the same profit target with more fixed expenses, or the same margin target with more fixed expenses. Or, let's say July is going to become slower. So now I want to make sure that I get to 175,000 in margin, and my profit though, my profit would be less than that as well. So it's going to be, let's say, 100,000 now. And that was my July profit target. Now again though, if I know in June that I'm ahead of target, I can over-invest in marketing, and I might be able to drive past this. So you could reset these targets depending on what you see going on with your marketing. So that is how we use the sheet. This is why this is my absolute favorite tool in D2C. Again, follow this video. It shows you the whole setup. I will give you the sheet in the show notes as well. And if you have any questions, please reach out. I'll put my contact info up in here as well, so you have it. I'm going to delete July's sheet. Yeah, if you need anything at all, please let me know. I would say this is the #1 tool our clients love that we create for them. And again, we have an offer running right now as well, where we will create this for you and actually create this for you in like a guidance system for Black Friday and everything else. So thank you everybody for following along. I love this tool. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and we'll talk on the other side. Bye everybody. Okay, there you go. That is how you build a real-time profit tracker that actually works. I just gave you the same system my clients pay me thousands to set up. While everyone is waiting for monthly reports, you will now have your profits daily and can make way smarter decisions and make them faster. Here's the thing. If you just save this and don't actually do anything with it, nothing's going to change. Your business won't change. You won't get better. So what I want you to do, pause the video, go to Data Slayer, set it up, integrate with Google Sheets, replay the video, and follow along. It'll take you like half an hour or so. All the links you need are in the show notes. And if this helped you out, share it with someone who needs it. I'm Matt. This is How Do I. I'll catch you next time.